works with guys. Anytime you do anything remotely sensitive, heartwarming, anything that's going to make you more of a loving, caring individual, immediately all your guy friends suggest that maybe, just maybe, you want to suck a dick. Oh, it's brutal. Even if you do something smart, right? Like it's raining out, he's got an umbrella. What a fag! Oh my God! What are you, afraid of the water? Put your shoulders up, you fucking homo.
Does anybody remember that show, My Two Dads, from like the late 80s, early 90s? I don't know when it was on. I was very young when when it was, but what was the fucking deal with that show? I don't know. There was like a lot of like sitcoms, right? During that time where it was like there was sort of a father-based theme. You know, like either, well, it was always like a father and a kid or two kids or fucking, you know, in this case, two dads. Never a mother around. Like either the mother had like died or she was like a cunt and fucking ran off. But My Two Dads was always a weird one to me because it's like, I don't know. I mean, you know, maybe they told the story in the beginning, you know, of how this girl ended up living with these two dudes that apparently had no idea, you know, whose kid it was. So for some reason they decided that they're all gonna live together and attempt to be a happy family. How much of a fucking slut was her mother, right? I mean, she, you know, I don't know. I guess I can't, you know, is that slut shaming? Is that what I'm doing? You know, ladies, I got news for you. If you're having kids and you don't know who the father is, you're a slut and not a good slut, you know. You know, unfortunately, I know that slutty chicks don't like to be judged, but unfortunately, you're judged by the worst amongst you. And it doesn't get any worse than a woman that, you know, gets pregnant and has no idea which of the dudes that she's currently banging is the father. I mean, if anything, it shows how irresponsible she is. And I know what some of you are gonna say. Well, you know, what about the guys? How come they weren't making sure to stay protected? Well, I'll give you that. Guys are supposed to take part in that as well, but it's also up to you. It's your body, right? You know, that's why I never understood like the women that get upset because, you know, some dude got them pregnant, as though somehow it's like all his fault. Right? I mean, it takes two to fucking tango, right? Two to tango. I hate that phrase. We're not dancing, we're fucking. But you know, it always it blows my mind that there are some women out there that will get upset at the dude, like, oh, how dare you bust a nut in me. Didn't I get into some argument with some fucking chick on Twitter about this like almost a year ago? It was when the Me Too movement. Yeah, I remember that one. Right, the girl. You know, it was when fucking Me Too was at like the peak of its fucking popularity, and some girl made a post on Twitter talking about how you know, somehow the dude that she, I don't know, I guess they had broken up and they had sex and somehow she ended up pregnant, and for some reason she was blaming it 100% on him, you know, as to the reason why she got pregnant. And I went back and forth with this girl, you know, that at the end of the day, it's up to both of you to not, or, you know, it's up to the both of you to fucking protect yourselves from STDs and fucking babies and all of that shit. It's up to both of you. So this idea that it's always on the man always has to be the one, You know, I, I don't know, what the fuck am I talking about? It's Monday. You guys don't want to hear my ignorant take on what do you call was it birth control. I know a lot of you are like, hey, where the fuck have you been for the past 2 weeks? You haven't released a podcast. And to that I will say, the first week, my kids were on spring break, and while my daughter was she was on some fucking East Coast field trip for her school, but my son was still here with us, and so I decided to take him. He wanted to go on a plane somewhere, but I was like, dude, we're not gonna fucking, jump on a plane and be gone for like 2 or 3 days and then fucking jump back on it and, and come back. It's just, save that for the fucking summer when we could take a longer trip. But I took him to San Francisco, took him to a fucking Giants game. We had fucking great fucking seats, but is it me? Am I the only one that when the fucking music that comes on and the crowd participation fucking happens, am I the only one that's like fucking disgusted by people? Fucking this song came on, right? The Giants, by the way, were fucking getting beat, and they actually lost the game. Which is no big deal. I'm not a fucking Giants fan. Obviously, I'm from Boston, so the only team I give a fuck about is the Red Sox. But I live in the fucking Bay Area now, so I'm not gonna fucking represent the Giants, but I'm not gonna say I hate them. I just don't give two shits about whether they win or not. So my goal was to just take my son to a professional baseball game because he plays baseball. I figured he'd fucking be interested in that shit, and we had a good fucking time. But I think it was like, when was it? It was like either the seventh inning stretch, or I can't remember, but they start fucking playing this fucking song where this dude is like, how did that shit go? It was like, a Heidi Heidi Ho, or Heidi Heidi He, or some fucking bullshit. And the crowd is just, they're singing along, and I'm just like, will you people shut the fuck up? I don't know. I mean, I know it's just everybody's having a good time, and I'm a fucking grouchy old man, so it's not like it was wrong what they were doing, and I mean, for fuck's sakes, how many times have I fucking watched a game in Fenway and people put on that, or they put on that fucking what's the fucking song? I can't even remember. It's been so long since I've been there. But, like, I get it. Every fucking team probably has their cheesy fucking music. Oh, Sweet Caroline. How could I forget that shit? That's the song that they fucking play at Fenway. By the way, for any of you who are like, well, where the fuck did that come from? That is the song, and it's fucking annoying when they play it, and it's fucking annoying listening to people fucking sing it, and listening to these Giant fans fucking I don't know. It was a stupid fucking song, And how come they don't sing Take Me Out to the fucking ball game anymore? I never hear that shit anymore. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh yeah, so we went to San Francisco. We got a hotel, stayed there for a couple of nights. Saw the game, fucking went fishing off the fucking docks there, which, by the way, fucking well, we have this tradition the kids and I, we go fishing, a couple of times a year. Assuming that we have time. If we don't have time, we at least try and make it out somewhere to fish. Once a year or whatever. Usually during the summertime, and we have this fucking tradition where we go fishing and we never catch shit. And I'm proud to say that the streak has continued, because we stood out there on the fucking docks for like 4 hours, didn't catch a fucking thing. There was other people fishing, like there was like a bunch of like old Asian dudes, and I don't know what fucking bait they were using or what, but they were just yanking fish out of the fucking ocean. I mean, they were tiny fucking fish. I was reading the regulations as far as catching fish in San Francisco, and I guess they have some rule that if the fish is under, I think it's like 23 or 24 inches or something like that, you're supposed to fucking throw it back. And these guys were pulling, these fish that they're pulling out are like 8-9 inches or whatever. But not one of them was throwing them back. And it's not like I'm gonna be like, hey, I mean, I don't give a fuck, but I don't know. It was fucking disappointing, but we had a big laugh at the fucking end, because it's like, we never catch anything. And it doesn't help that I'm not like a fucking a fisherman. I mean, I went a few times as a kid. Most of the time when I did go, I was too busy fucking around. I wasn't really paying attention, so. It's not like I'm some sort of fucking bass master. Is that a shop? What is that? Bass master? Is that actually a thing, or am I just making up fucking words over here? But I'm not a fucking fisherman, so it's probably 100% the fact that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and then on top of that, I'm trying to show my kids how to do something that I don't even fucking know how to do. So, it's sort of, we're sort of destined to fail, but, it's become a tradition. The first couple of times that we went fishing and didn't catch shit, it was fucking disappointing. But every time since that, every time it doesn't happen, we fucking laugh about it. We're just like, God, we are the fucking worst. I mean, if the apocalypse was to fucking happen, or the zombie apocalypse, if our only food source was fucking fish, we'd starve to death. And I know that some of you are like, oh, come on, you're not that bad. Yeah, we're that fucking bad. We once went to this place where they actually, like, what do they call it, where they supply fish to the area, right? We didn't catch fish in the fucking the pond that they had. And then they have because like my kids were like getting bummed out because they didn't catch anything, but they also have like this fucking like Olympic size swimming pool that is they got tons of fucking catfish in there, right? It is basically, it's supposed to be guaranteed that you're gonna catch something, because it's just it's too small of a fucking area to not get any bites. Like, it makes sense if you're fishing off of a fucking pier or on a fucking pond. I mean, it really becomes a game of luck, right? Make sure, assuming you cast your fucking your reel or whatever into the fucking right area, whatever. But in this fucking swimming pool, it's supposed to be guaranteed, and we still didn't catch a fucking thing. So, it just, I think it's just, it's apparent we're not fucking, we're not outdoorsman fucking types of people, or at least I'm not. My son loves to fucking hike and shit. I actually enjoy it too, but, I don't know, like, we never really, like, the kind of hike that my son wants. Does anybody give a shit about this? I suddenly realized I've been talking for, almost 15 minutes, and it really hasn't been about fucking anything. unfortunately, a lot of this shit that I wanted to fucking talk about like 2 weeks ago it's really fucking old now. So it's like, do I really want to bring it up? I know there was the controversy about the fuck was it about Apu from The Simpsons. Apparently, the Indian community is fucking upset. Not real. I don't know if upset is the correct word, but they're kind of sick of that fucking character, and apparently The Simpsons. I guess they had an opportunity to sort of like make amends, and they just sort of half-assed it. I didn't see the show, so I don't know for certain what happened. I just saw on Twitter that it was trending, and I guess this guy. Well, it's not that I guess this Indian guy. He fucking created a documentary. It's called The Trouble with Apu, and basically it's him going around to other Indian actors and actresses, and asking how they feel about that character on The Simpsons, and the fact that the guy that does the voice of Apu is fucking I guess he's a white dude, or he's white. I think it's Hank Azaria or something like that. How he has basically refused to even sit down with really anybody that is Indian, and discuss his basic stereotypical thing. And I don't know, make a long story short, there for some reason, I guess The Simpsons had, like I said, they had an opportunity to sort of fucking make amends, and they just sort of treated it like, we make fun of everybody, so what's your fucking problem? And at first I had that same perspective. It's like, dude, it's a fucking cartoon. What are you making such a big deal about a fucking cartoon? But then I watched the fucking documentary, and I think I already said the name of it, but if I didn't, it's called I think it's either The Problem With Apu or The Trouble with Apu. I think it's The Problem With Apu, APU. I watched the documentary, mostly because, I wanted to see, okay, before I take on the typical, fucking, I guess, American, even though a lot of these actors and actresses are Americans, so it seems kind of weird to fucking say that, but I took on the sort of typical, like, it's not that big of a fucking deal, you're making too much of it, oh, you're fucking triggered, or you're a snowflake, or whatever it is that people say to one another nowadays. I wanted to watch it to make sure that my perspective was appropriate, and I watched it, and at the end of it I was like, you know what, I completely fucking retract my perspective. It might not seem like a big deal to people that aren't Indian, that there's this fucking there's this cartoon character with that fucking basically follows all of the typical stereotypes that you can think of. You might not think it's that big of a deal if you're not Indian, but if, say, let's put just I don't know. I mean, obviously, people are free to feel however they fucking feel. I'm not trying to say, hey, you should feel the way that I felt after watching it, but it definitely gave me some perspective. I definitely realized that, what, it's not right for me, myself personally, that's, I'm not Indian. It's not right for me to tell Indian people how they should feel about something that bothers them. It's not up to me, and I think that's where a lot of people, not just with this, but with other things, that naturally sort of take on that sort of stance of, like it's a fucking joke, or it's a cartoon, or it's it's fucking sci-fi, or whatever the fuck, like, why do you gotta take it so serious, like, oh, you're playing the fucking race car and that type of shit, and it just watching this documentary, I realized, well, it's not that it took the documentary for me to realize this. It's not like I'm a closed-minded fucking clod. I mean, I know on this podcast I sound like a fucking idiot, but, I'm usually very, I try not to fucking, like really offend people. I might say some fucking, I'm not on CNN. I don't need to fucking qualify my entire fucking history, but watching this documentary, I realized, like, okay, to those of us that aren't Indian, yeah, it's just a cartoon, and yeah, you could say that they make fun of everybody on that show and other shows as well, but regardless of that, we don't have the right to tell people how they should feel. It's like the equivalent of, like, if somebody, I don't know, hurts your fucking feelings, right? You get upset about it, whatever they did, it hurts you. And then when they apologize, or maybe they don't apologize, or maybe they do, let's just say they apologize, but instead of apologizing for what they've done, they say that they're sorry that you took it a certain way, which, that's not an apology. If you're saying, well, sorry that you got upset at some shit that I said, that's not an apology. That's basically, saying, hey, you shouldn't have taken this so goddamn serious, and I'm sorry that, that you're fucking such a snowflake, but, it's not a real apology. If you're going to apologize to somebody for something that you did, you need to own up to what you did, right? So, I don't know. Long fucking story short. I watched it. I recommend anybody that had taken that stance. I know this is sort of fucking old news. Like I said, 2 weeks ago, this would have been fucking fresh in everybody's mind, but it is what it is. But I highly recommend that if you are somebody that was like, dude, calm down, Indian people, this is this was a fucking cartoon. If you're one of these people, I recommend that you watch the documentary. It's not very long. It's like an hour, I think, maybe even less than that, maybe 45 minutes, I don't know. I recommend you watch it. It's an interesting fucking documentary. It will open your eyes, hopefully, to, to I don't know. I don't even know what the fucking word is for it, but yeah. So, if I do have Indian people listening to this podcast, I 100% agree. Fucking Apu needs to fucking go. I would say this shit about any fucking character. Like, it always boggles my mind when you look at, like, the African American community, right? One of the biggest complaints you hear coming from the African American community is that people that are outside of the community have this idea that black people are all, relatively fucking similar in behavior and thought process and all of that shit, right? There's always this, this assumption that everybody that's black, came from the hood, or likes fucking, rap music, or, speaks street slang or whatever. And that's why you have, these instances, especially on TV, where, the dopey fucking white dude, makes friends with the black guy, and then, or black girl or whatever, and, immediately starts in with the, hey, how you, not hey, how you doing, but, the what and what's up, and, I don't know how to fucking do it, okay? I know I'm, like I said a long time ago, I don't do fucking impressions. So if you were tuning into this podcast because you were looking forward to fucking awesome impressions, you're on the wrong one, right? I don't know who you should go fucking listen to that would give you the impressions that you're fucking, so thirsty for, but it's not here, right? But I'm pretty sure everybody understands what I'm saying, right? They, like there was that fucking movie not too long ago. What was it? Will Ferrell. Um, wasn't he like going to fucking prison, and and he fucking asks Kevin Hart to like teach him how to fucking not get his ass kicked or whatever, or not end up somebody's bitch in prison or whatever, right? And of course, he, throughout, I mean, I didn't watch the fucking movie, so I don't know how it turns out. I don't know if they suddenly at the end realize like, dude, this is fucked up. Why am I assuming that because this guy is black that therefore he, I don't know. I don't know what the climax to the fucking movie is. But you see a lot of this type of stuff, right? Where it's like it'll be somebody black teaching somebody white or whatever, how to fucking dance, or how to be tough, or fucking how to exist in the hood or whatever, right? Hold on a second. I'm fucking. Yeah, sorry. Fucking. I had a text I couldn't fucking ignore or whatever. But you see this a lot, right? And a lot of it sort of transfers into real life, right? I mean, I don't know how many times I've read through comments of, I don't know, some fucking out of control, like, white dude or white girl that is speaking street slang. And you'll see a lot of the comments where people are like, why is she trying to talk black? I mean, you even see some black people saying this, but a lot of the times, a lot of the, why is they talking black? A lot of the times it's people that aren't black that say that, and that kind of goes to that assumption that speaking street slang and basically sounding unintelligent has somehow been associated with being black. So if somebody's speaking street slang, or they sound like they're fucking mildly retarded, this idea that they're talking quote unquote black, that's that's kind of a fucking insult, right? And you see this a lot from from the African American community. It's like, don't assume that we're all the fucking same. I mean, you hear that shit all the time, right? What I don't understand though is in one breath they will say, don't assume we're all the same, don't assume that we are all from the hood, don't assume that we all speak street slang, yada yada yada. But then they'll take on roles in movies and TV shows where they play the stereotypical thing. And I guess from watching the documentary, the Problem With Apu, when the guy, I wish I fucking remembered what his name is, and I apologize if there's anybody out there pounding on the fucking table that's like, you fucking idiot, his name is blah blah blah. I'm sorry, but when he was talking to other Indian actors, they were talking about how they would always be typecasted, when they'd go, when they'd fucking read for roles and shit like that, right? And I think, where was I going with all this shit? I mean, I get it. If you're an actor, I know it's not easy to fucking come by. Or roles are not easy to come by, and sometimes, if you're trying to get your fucking, god damn it. If you're trying to get your fucking feet wet or whatever, you're trying to break into the industry, sometimes you gotta just take the roles that are fucking insulting. But it seems to me, right, and I say this completely as somebody who has never acted, in front of a fucking camera or on stage, or I have no fucking desire to be an actor. I say this as somebody that's 100% fucking shouldn't even really be talking about this shit. it seems to me that if you have such an issue with the sort of Hollywood depiction of the black community, that you would refuse to take those roles. That you would take a stand and be like, look, not every black person is like this. It would be nice if there was just sort of a fucking happy medium. Like, it seems like, and I know I'm taking a lot of time talking about the African American community, but it's the one that popped into my head, so you got to bear with me. One thing I've noticed is that there doesn't seem to be any sort of happy medium when depicted on TV. Like, either the person is super fucking from the hood, or they're like complete fucking soul, sellout, or they're like a nerd or something like that. Like, there doesn't seem to be any sort of depiction of just an ordinary African American person that's not from the hood, but also is not, completely fucking selling out, or is a fucking genius or whatever. There doesn't seem to be any sort of happy fucking middle there. It's either one or the fucking other. And I mean, even though obviously this doesn't affect me in any way, it's gotta be frustrating, right? To see this, that like, okay, you can either play a fucking hoodlum or hoodlumish-ish, or you can play somebody that's so far removed from what people view as the stereotypical black existence. It's got to be frustrating that there's no fucking in between, right? What in the hell am I fucking talking about? When did this podcast become this fucking serious shit? Wasn't I talking about the Giants and them singing fucking Heidi Heidi Ho or some shit? How did I end up on this? I don't know. Just, watch the fucking the Problem With Apu. It's a good fucking documentary. I highly fucking recommend it. Even if you're not Indian, or even if you're a fucking racist fucking cunt, I would say just fucking watch it, just so you can get a little bit of perspective, and sort of get away from the whole, it's just a fucking cartoon, settle down, snowflakes. I mean, it goes much deeper than that. I don't know what else is going on. I read, I guess the fucking, what was it, the Country Music Awards or some fucking award show or some shit just recently happened, and they were talking about what the fuck is her name? Carrie Underwood, right? That she's made this like fucking miraculous recovery. Apparently she cut her fucking face, and so like now she's got like $150. And for those of you that are like, what the fuck is $150? Well, I understand if you're if you're not from the East Coast, if you live in California or anywhere else besides the fucking East Coast, you might be like, well, what exactly is $150? $150 is basically somebody takes a knife or a razor blade or some shit and slices your face from usually like your forehead to your jaw. This isn't something that's like fun to do, obviously, but basically they call it $150 because it usually takes about 150 fucking staples or stitches or whatever to close up the wound. So that's why they call it $150. But yeah, I guess she got. I mean, she didn't get $150. Nobody fucking sliced her face, at least as far as I know. I don't really know what the fuck happened to her, but like I guess she had like tons of makeup on, and people were like, "Oh, it's so amazing. You can't even fucking tell." And it's just like, why do you gotta cover it up? Like, I think fucking scars can be cool. That one dude from what the fuck? He's got the fucking $150 scar. The guy from The Wire, There was like the fucking gay fucking gangster and shit. What the fuck is his name? Like Michael Michael K. Williams or some shit. He's got the $150 scar, and his is actually from getting a $150. You know, it doesn't take away from. I mean, in fact, it's actually, I think it's kind of helped his work. Although I was reading about him, and I guess, you know, he kind of wants to get away from being the fucking gangster. You know, I don't know. Yeah, I guess he's getting fucking typecasted. Although I guess he's now on that show, fucking Empire, or was on that show. I don't know. I don't even know if it's fucking still running. I never watched even one episode, but from what I understand, it was a good show. But yeah, I guess fucking Carrie Underwood was trying to cover up her fucking scar, and it's just like, you know, like why can't people just ever be happy with you know, with the fucking lot that was given to them? You know, I don't know. I mean, what fucking happened to her? She fall or some shit? Did she get in an accident? I don't know. I think it would be nice if just every now and then somebody'd be like, you know, fuck it. I've got a weird, you know, scar or whatever on my fucking face. You know, and be fucking proud of it. It would make, I guess, all the rest of the fucking scar faces out there feel better. I mean, isn't that isn't that the type of society that we're fucking living in now, where it's okay to, you know, be okay with your fucking self? Which, you know, I'm not saying that like I disagree. You know, yeah, you should be okay with yourself, but, you know, sometimes it's a little overdone. You know, like the fucking the new Amy Schumer fucking movie, which is basically just Shallow Hal, a remake of that. At what point, you know, and you see people that are still like, oh, I can't wait to see this fucking movie that's already been done, that most likely you've stolen fucking jokes from, and, you know, at what point are people going to officially jump off the fucking Amy Schumer fucking bandwagon? She's not funny, you know. Well, okay, she is funny, but the problem is the jokes that she fucking tells are other people's jokes. So it's not really that she's funny, it's just the jokes that she's stolen are funny. You know, the movies, I don't think I've ever watched any of her fucking movies, and it's really, you know, I refuse to fucking pay money to watch her do other people's fucking material. You know, that's my own personal thing. I'm not gonna pay to watch her, you know, pretend like those ideas are fucking original. But, you know, like, I mean, you know, she's got the new movie where apparently she fucking falls and bumps her head, and suddenly she, you know, she considers herself beautiful or whatever. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with the fucking premise of that, or there's nothing wrong with the sentiment of that. It's just that it's already been fucking done. You know, yeah, Shallow Hal was a little bit different. I mean, he saw other people as, you know, for like, he saw what was inside them rather than what was on the fuck, you know, the superficial shit. But, you know, it's the same thing with her, except instead of seeing it in other people, she sees it in herself. It's the same goddamn fucking movie, you know. And I wish, I wish people would just finally stop pretending like Amy Schumer is funny, that she brings anything to the fucking table. You know, I've watched the fucking montage fucking YouTube videos where they do sort of a side by side of, you know, where she has basically like taken every single, almost line for line, of people's jokes and tried to make it her own. And I mean, I know I've talked about this before, and I've made this argument before, but what I don't understand is why, you know, like Carlos Mencia, right? He basically was ran out of town because he got exposed as a fucking joke thief. Why is Amy Schumer not getting the same fucking treatment? Why is it okay that she is fucking, you know, stealing fucking people's material and prospering off of it? You know, why is she given a fucking pass? What, because she has a clam? You know, I don't know. God, this podcast has been pretty serious and angry. My apologies. I know you guys were like, hey, you've been away for 2 fucking weeks, and where's the funny? You know, I don't know. I don't know what to fucking tell you. You know, it is what it is. This fucking podcast is hit or miss. Sometimes it's all fucking silly, fucking stupid shit, and occasionally it's it's some shit that's really fucking a huge fucking bummer. So apparently, this particular podcast falls into the bummer category, but I think I will wrap it up here. I've been fucking talking about, for 40 minutes, and it's all been just way too fucking serious. So, I'm gonna cut out, I'm gonna cut my fucking losses. I'm gonna cash in my chips, or whatever fucking, phrase or analogy there is. I'm pushing away from the table. I'm fucking done. So, you'll have to wait until the next podcast, which will either be like tomorrow or fucking Thursday or some shit. And, hopefully it'll be a little more light fucking hearted. Hopefully funnier and, not so goddamn serious. But, anyway, so, my apologies for being away for so fucking long. But, life fucking happens. The first week was, like I said, my kids' spring break last week. It was just I didn't feel like fucking doing a podcast, So you're just gonna have to fucking live with it. Anyways, all right, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. I hope you had a good weekend. Hope you're having a good beginning of the fucking week. I know it's Monday. It fucking sucks. I don't like Mondays either, even though I fucking work from home. So my Monday's a little less stressful than those of you that have to fucking, get in your car and fight through fucking traffic and deal with the dipshits that, always have to fucking slow down and look at the guy changing his fucking tire on the side of the road. My sympathies are with you. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. I'm just fucking babbling at this point. Take it easy, and I'll talk to you again, in a fucking day or two or some shit. All right. Don't take any shit, and go fuck yourself. Peace.